I'm betting on you, Rob.
Are we all ready?
We are ready, ma'am.
I'd like to call to order the Lyon County Board of County Commissioners Thursday, September 15, 2022. It's 9 a.m. No, action will be taken on all items unless otherwise noted. No action will be taken on any item until it's properly agendized. To avoid meeting disruptions, please place cell phones and beepers in the silent mode or turn them off during the meeting. The board reserves the right to take the items in different order to accomplish business in the most efficient manner. Items may be combined for consideration and items may be pulled or removed from the agenda at any time. Restrictions on comments by the general public. Any such restrictions must be reasonable and may restrict the time, place, and manner of the comments, but may not restrict comments based upon viewpoint. Board of Commissioners convening as other boards. Members of the Board of County Commissioners also serve as a liquor board, Central Lyon Vector Control District Board, Mason Valley Mosquito Abatement District Board, Walker River Fleet Control District Board, Willow Creek General Improvement District Board, the Silver Springs General Improvement District Board. And during this meeting, you may convene as any of those boards as indicated on this or a separately posted agenda. Please take note that this meeting may break between 11:30 and 1:30 for lunch. I'm hoping with such a short agenda, we're not here that long.
Don't jinx us.
Roll call. I have, please note that all 5 commissioners are present in chambers. And today we have an invitation that's going to be given by Thomas Walmart of the Sweetwater Christian Fellowship. And once you guys please stay up for the pledge of allegiance.
Let's be an attitude of prayer. Dear Lord, today we come to you in an attitude of forgiveness and repentance. We ask forgiveness for our nation, which is allowed to be take you out of our schools, take you out of our government and out of our Constitution. I ask forgiveness from our own selfish ways, Lord. I ask you, Lord, to bring us back to a nation that was built on strong Christian Judeo principles. Help us get back to those basic proven principles, dear God. Help us once more to become one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. And Lord, we understand that it begins right here in this very room, with each and every one of us, and with these local appointed officials. Anoint them, dear God, give them the strength to stand firm on the Constitution that they took an oath to uphold. Be with our local sheriff's departments, our firemen and first responders. Keep them safe as they go about their duties to protect and to serve. And Lord, we thank you for all those here today and ask you for blessings on this commission, this county, and this nation. We pray this, dear Jesus, in your holy name. Amen.
Commissioner Hockaday, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
Again, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated.
Madam
Okay,
Chair, Madam Chair, you check, make sure.
it's green.
You might pull a bit closer. People in the audience have a hard time hearing. Thank you.
Okay, hopefully is that better?
Yeah, very good.
Oh, I could hear myself. That must be better. Okay, sorry about that. Too far away. Now we're going to go to public participation. No action will be taken on any item until it's properly agendized. It is anticipated that public participation will be held at this time, though it may be returned to at any time during this agenda. Citizens wishing to speak during public participation are asked to state their name for the record and will be limited to 3 minutes. The board will conduct public comment after discussion of each agenda action item, but before the board takes any action. Afterwards, please print your name for the clerk. If you're on Zoom, please spell your name. So this is public participation for anything that's not on the agenda. Do I have any hands? I'm not seeing any.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So at this time, we're going to go to review and adoption of the agenda. And please note that we will need to pull item, where to go?
Madam Chair, it'll be
6A.
6A will be brought back in October and 14B will be brought back in October.
Oh, and 14B, I didn't know about that one.
Yep, sorry.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it, ma'am.
Okay, so can I get a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I'll
Chair.
make a motion that we approve the agenda with the aforementioned changes.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Public comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, let's recall that. Okay, number 7, presentation of awards. Do we have anything? Okay. I just switched faces real quick, like, whoa, wait a minute, what happened over there? Good morning, Josh. Exactly. Good morning, Josh. All right, commissioner comments. I will start on my right. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a pleasure to be back. You know, not last week, the week before, I saw the Atlantic, the Gulf, and thanks to the routing by Southwest to Pacific Oceans. I can't tell you how happy it made me the first time I looked out the plane window and saw a mountain. You know, they can have their water, we need our mountains. Since I've been back, I attended the Dayton Regional Advisory Committee. Mr. Page was there to give a presentation on our efforts to possibly have a hospital located in the Central Lyon County corridor. I also attended a discussion put on by the USDA about Rural Partners Network, which is a new government program that they're starting. Mr. Page was there as well. It's something that, you know, we may be interested in. It may be a way to help us take more advantage of existing federal programs that are out there. So I'm excited about that. I attended the Campo meeting last night, and we had a presentation by NDOT on the US 50 corridor. It's pretty much the same presentation we've seen over and over. Study this, study that, put it in the queue. We're working on it. The takeaway from that is we have to be the squeakiest wheel out there if we're going to get something done on US 50 sooner rather than later. And also, I'd just like to remind everybody that Dayton Valley Days is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. There is a car show on Saturday that I have been voluntold to be a judge for, so I'm looking forward to that. And I understand that all the entries are full, so it should be a good show. So I hope to see some of you guys out at Dayton Valley Days. And with that, Madam Chair, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Gray.
Yeah, just a couple quick things. Yeah, I want to mention Dayton Valley Days as well. It's going to be a good time, 2 full days of a lot of good stuff. So if you can get out there and take part, it'll be fun. Some good news actually on the radio this morning, and I want to put it out there just in case nobody heard about it. Looks like they've averted the freight rail strike, which would have had a devastating effect on us at every level of our country. You know, from fuel getting to refineries to products making it to market. So that's a good thing. One thing I want to bring up for staff is apparently there's an RV that's been abandoned for quite some time out there at Rose Peak and Flowery, and somebody thought enough to move it when they were sealing the streets, but now it's you know, just been moved and left at a different location. So from what I've been told, nobody will take that. There's no towing companies that'll take it. So we need to figure out a way. It poses an attractive nuisance, and you know, if it winds up like the one next to my house, the windows will be smashed out of it, or somebody will firebomb it or something. So we need to address that one sooner rather than later. Madam Chair, that's all I have at this point.
Thank you. Commissioner Hockaday.
Just some announcements. You know, we have Dayton Valley Days this weekend, but the first weekend in October 1st and 2nd will be the Fun Days in Smith Valley. There will be, of course, a car show and lots of booths going on there. Also on October 8th, we have the Haunted Dinner Party to benefit the YERINGTON Senior Center. So that's tickets can be obtained at the YERINGTON Senior Center. And we'll also have a phone number here in case anybody's interested. Sounds like a great dinner. I will be out of town, so I won't be there, but just wanted to let everybody know that's going on. Also on my way in today, I noticed that there were not a lot of
overnight, over week, over month type camping in Wilson Canyon. As a matter of fact, it's the first time I've driven through and there haven't been people there with long-term campers in tents that are dumping their waste into the river. Finally cleared out. Maybe it's because the weather's getting colder and they don't want to be out there in the cold. But I'd really like to make sure we keep the Wilson Canyon and river area clear of long-term camping for the health of the river. I'll keep my eye on that and I'll pass it on.
Commissioner Jacobson.
Thank you,
I made
Commissioners.
you last this time.
Madam Chair, thank you. Oh, how about that? Attended the Fernley City Council meeting as they continue to deal with unbelievable growth as well. Sad news, a near and dear friend, Richard Cook, passed away. Attended his service on Tuesday at the Veterans Cemetery. He led the Northern Nevada War Veterans Association for many years. War Memorial Veterans, sorry. And member of the Ghost Soldiers, advocated through Veterans Day, 9/11 ceremonies, Special Olympics, etc., through the years, keeping patriotism and that pride, national pride, U.S. pride in front of our kids, and was just a true gentleman, and will be missed greatly. When I retired from being a principal, he actually gave me a Ghost Soldiers coin that I will have with me forever. It's very much a cherished memento, and I feel very honored and privileged to have that, but more honored and privileged to actually have known Mr. Richard Cook. Again, the sad passing there. And then I want to thank the schools that actually held a 9/11 ceremony. I attended Fernley Intermediate School's 9/11 ceremony this year, and I truly believe we need to keep those types of events front and center with our kids for various reasons. But I still recall where I was standing when I got the news on 9/11 with my jaw hanging. So they continue, Fernley Intermediate continues to use that as an educational piece for their kids, and I appreciate that. And I want to thank all the schools that do a ceremony, and if they don't, encourage them to start that up again next year. And then also want to thank North Lyon Fire for hosting the 9/11 ceremony there in Fernley as well. That is all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. So let me see, starting off, first of all, I want to apologize to Fernley Intermediate because I had plans to be there again this year. But I had a family matter come up and I missed it. So my apologies to them. But I did attend the 9/11 ceremony up in Fernley on Sunday afternoon. And we didn't get, of course, the turnout we normally get, but I think a lot of that it was Sunday, a lot of people in church.
Air
So
quality sucked too.
it was kind of expected, but still a very good service. And, and I just want to make a quick note on that. Politicians, people out there campaigning, and Ken wasn't there, so we're not going to pick on him. But a 9/11 ceremony is no different than going to a funeral. You don't campaign. My gosh. Anyways, when you're filling out your ballots, I really hope that you take that in consideration for those who are dishonoring folks by doing that. I was a little ticked off. Another note, I was at the advisory board for Silver Springs Advisory Board. Yes, Mr. Page was there and gave his little report on what we're doing moving forward with the hospital, which wasn't much of a report because he's still figuring it out. But at least he was out there and, you know, people know what he's working on, and it was good to see you. Haven't seen you in Silver Springs in a long time, and I think it was a nice meeting. It was an off week for us because of the holidays, so our attendance was down a little bit, but it was still a good showing. And then we also received resignation from Mr. Scott Keller from the advisory board that will be forwarded now to the Board of County Commissioners to accept. So anyways, that was a good meeting. With that, I think I'll just go ahead and turn it over to you, Jeff.
Good morning, Jeff Page, County Manager for the record. So a few things to report on. If you don't know, today is the beginning day of Hispanic Heritage Month, and I bring that up because from the time I was a youth to where I am today, we've seen a significant change in our population. We have a very large Hispanic community who has a number of businesses throughout the county, as well as working within local government, school districts, those kinds of things. When I was a kid working in my dad's grocery store, there was a handful of Hispanic people that lived here, and now we've seen the population shift that direction, and just glad to see that we're able to recognize that within Lyon County as who our population is and what it's become. October 1st, I believe it is, the airport is having an open house. Not a fly-in like it used to be. They're basically what Peggy informed the group at Social Security Advisory Board is kind of see what that looks like and see if they can do a fly-in somewhere down the road. But get people back out to Social Security Airport to see what that looks like. So if there are any questions, we do have HR is publishing, if they haven't already published, senior planner position that is opening now. One of our senior planners is retiring in October, so we're moving forward to getting that position filled. So if you have any questions, that's what's happening. But I know there's been, when we cleaned up the Dayton office, there were questions as to what are we doing, what we spent on the Dayton office, they won't work there anymore. So just want to bring it to that. On the hospital situation, there is no official update. We're still waiting. I just got an email this morning from some folks. So hopefully next week or week after, we'll be scheduling a meeting to start going over what that data looks like and identify what the actual needs are by community, as well as the Central Lyon County region, North Lyon County region individually. So we'll hopefully have some better information for you first or second meeting in October. We'll keep you posted as we go through that process. We have, just so you're aware, community development and I have been working for a while now with at the board's request to get information to the citizen advisory boards sooner than later on potential developments. So we're trying to come up, we've developed a process, a form for the developer to complete that addresses the basics of what the development is, whether it be commercial, industrial, or residential, making a difference, and answer some basic questions to get that to the advisory board so they can have discussions sooner than later. And we'll have to do a little bit of training with the advisory boards and what that looks like and how we focus that on the agenda, word it on the agenda. So we're working through with that process, but Andrew and his crew have done a phenomenal job of trying to get some of that information a little bit clearer and easier understood for the advisory boards moving forward. Then recently we've had a request or an inquiry, as you all saw, from a resident in Lyon County in regards to ordinances. So I don't know what happened prior to me being the county manager, with the exception of Title 15, where we did community meetings, not necessarily advisory board meetings. Ordinances have never gone to the advisory boards. There's some good reasons and some not so good reasons for that. If the board decides they want to go down that path down the road or agendize that to be done, then understand that it'll take us at least 3 months before we come back to the Board of County Commissioners. If it's not a Title 15 issue, maybe 4 months if it is a Title 15 issue, because that's the planning commission, before the board would hear that proposed, just the first hearing of the ordinance. So that is, I believe, why the county, at least in my tenure, I didn't know any different. I took over, so we changed ordinances. We never sent them to the advisory boards. That we did. We may have in the past. I'm not saying that the person who sent the email is incorrect. I just know that in my tenure, we've not done that. So other than that, things are moving forward as whether we want them to or not. So keep going, team. Any questions or concerns?
Oh, I just want to make a comment. I've been going to advisory board meetings well over 20 years now, and I've never seen an ordinance go through an advisory board. So I don't even know if that was previous practice. Now the city of Fernley, I know Rob's hand just went, might have been a little bit different because they had a town board rather than an advisory board.
Correct.
But anyways, Commissioner Jacobson, your hand went up.
I
so-
was just curious, Madam Chair, if the advisory boards have the agenda before them when they meet, or some meeting before the agenda is posted. And if they're meeting after the agenda is posted, I would assume that they're free to discuss and give feedback on anything on the agenda. So I would argue that they have the ordinance in front of them if they're meeting by the time that's posted to the time that they meet to the time that we meet. So, we can play this guilt all we want, but if it's posted on our agenda and they're meeting after our agenda is posted, it is fair game for them to discuss, in my humble opinion.
No,
That
I
is
don't
correct.
disagree
That is
with that.
correct.
Yeah.
Specifically, after it's been proposed the first time, it's usually 2 to 4 weeks before the board addresses it again, so there's plenty of opportunity for them to agendize and have that discussion. And I understand, I mean, there may be specific ordinances that deal with land use issues that may be more they want more community input in, but some of the ordinances that we have that are just routine, how we operate the county government, they may be interested in. The challenge for staff is if we go down this path is, then do we send all or just select? So I'm not asking for the board to put anything on the agenda. I just want to bring it to their attention, get it out in public, have the discussion so everybody knew that where staff was coming from and what the issues have been. But the challenge we have is with the number of advisory boards we have that meet on the same nights. So just like the hospital thing, right? Just in Central Lyon County, I've got to go out in October and meet with Stagecoach in Silver City because Stagecoach meets on the same night as Dayton, and Silver City meets on the same night. Actually, they don't.
You don't,
I
no.
forgot about that. So I will.
You had one change.
Yep. Well, I forgot about that. But we'll move forward from there.
Yes, so Silver City actually meets next Tuesday.
Correct.
So we know where you'll be.
Anything else?
There's a hand, see Amanda Ortiz.
No, that's my cursor.
Oh, is that what? Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, you're right. There's a little white hand, but okay. Okay, I am going to skip down. Item 17A. For possible action, review the continued membership of David Ray as board member of the Mason Valley Advisory Board pursuant to Article 3 of the Advisory Board bylaws and Lyon County Code Sections 3.01.04. Board action may include, but is not limited to, removal, suspension, reprimand, a correction period, or no action. Closed session may be held to consider character, alleged misconduct, professional competence, and physical or mental health pursuant to NRS 241.030. Mr. Page.
Madam Chair, Jeff Page, County Manager for the record. So for quite some time now, the liaison, Aaron Lopez, has been notifying the board of advisory boards that are not compliant with meeting the basic requirements of getting documentation submitted on time. Recordings, those kinds of things, or those who haven't attended trainings. We have provided you with, in the backup, with a copy of the current bylaws, a proof of notice, the retention report of September 2022, and a letter from Mr. Ray himself. And I believe staff provided you this morning an updated listing of where we are. So the board has two choices right now. If they want to go into closed session and have discussion in regards to the character, competence, physical and mental health, we can do that. Or if the board wants to come, just stay in open session and make a determination to where they want to go, it's entirely up to you.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair. Out of respect to Mr. Ray, I would rather go to closed session to hear everything, and so we're not dragging Mr. Ray through the dirt in public.
Well, I don't think I'll take this.
We can do a final thing, but I'd like to hear from the attorney in closed session.
Sorry. Let's
So
do that.
Madam Chair, if you will recess for 5 minutes, we'll get Zoom taken care of and get everybody cleared out of the room, and then we'll come back into closed session.
Okay. All right, we're gonna recess for more than 5 minutes because.
So, recess before you reconvene closed session.
Okay, we're gonna recess before we reconvene to close session. All settled in, Aaron? Call this meeting back to order. Again, we are on item 17A for possible action to review the continued membership of David Ray as a board member of the Mason Valley Advisory Board pursuant to Article 3 of the Advisory Board bylaws in the Lyon County Code, Section 3.01.04. Board action may include but not limited to removal, suspension, reprimand, and correction period or no action. What's the pleasure of my board? I have a motion.
Madam Chair, I would move that we take no action on this item.
Madam Chair, if I may, I would suggest that the board, as far as a disciplinary action, take no action, but accept the resignation of Mr. Ray.
It's not on the agenda.
Part of the process. He resigned during the process.
Yeah.
He made a motion, nobody seconded it.
So do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Just like to thank David Ray. Madam Chair, I'd like to thank David Ray for his years of commitment to the Mesa Valley Advisory Board and to his attendance and input that he gives the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe all of us probably echo that same sentiment.
Chair, I'd also like to put out there that this hasn't, based on what was brought before us, this has no bearing, or not, I don't say no bearing. There's no reflection of Mr. Ray having done anything wrong or anything like that. It was, this was kind of like no good deed goes unpunished for him. And I honestly, I can't blame him for resigning.
Any other motion in a second? I have a hand up, public comment. Gina Lee.
Yes, so this is Gina Lee. I serve on the Dayton Regional Advisory Board. I also serve on the Central Lyon County Parks and Recreation Board. I just wanted to speak on behalf of Mr. Ray that the recent changes to our record keeping did have many challenges because of technology. And given the fact that the county does not provide devices with standardized applications on them that they're for us to use, I think that the boards are doing a good job, as Mr. Ray did try to. I want to speak that he did not just resign as others did when we went through these technology changes. I had a member of one of my boards leave because we were going to use Zoom. And so I think Mr. Ray knows the value of the advisory board to the community. And again, I just wanted to speak on his behalf that he hung in there, tried to do his best, tried to get the records correct as he could, and has done a good job of saying so. And I've never met Mr. Ray. I just want to speak on his behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. Any other public comment? Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, at this time, we're going to go back to item number 9 for elected official reports. Do we have any elected officials? Any elected report? Online. Oh, Mr. Ryan? You hesitated, come on.
He who hesitates is lost.
Do what?
He did hesitate.
He who hesitates is lost. Isn't that the old wives' tale?
Yeah,
I don't think he was
That's right.
hesitating. I think Andrew was trying to hold him back.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, Steve Rye, Lyon County District Attorney, and I come before you today with some sad news. This week, Mike Gore, a deputy DA in our office, unexpectedly passed away. And so I wanted to let the board know that publicly. If you have questions, he'd only worked for our office for about 2 months, coming from the Elko County DA's office. We don't have a lot of information. I would like to thank the sheriff's office. They did a great job dealing with the situation and then also reaching out to the family. So it's a tough time for his family, obviously, and we are offering support. Human Resources is helping on that too. But I just wanted to give you that information publicly. Thanks.
Last call, elected officials. Sheriff, you have nothing to say. Nothing to say for yourself. Nothing.
Is Andrew holding him back too?
Number 10, appointed officials. Mr.
Oh,
Foley.
geez. No, I'm talking about the, I'm talking about the
Yeah,
Kansas,
good news.
I'm just talking about the Kansas City tie.
Josh Foley, Lyon County Comptroller for the record. I just want to update the board on a couple of things. Number one, the Fernley Justice Court request for qualifications for architect. We've received our applications, we've done the ranking. I'm in negotiations at this point under the federal guidelines with a contract that should come back to the next meeting for approval. So we've got that process moving forward. The district court remodel and Sheldon space upstairs, taking from 2 courtrooms to 4 courtrooms, is at 100% construction drawings at this point, or approximately there. So it won't be too much longer before we're ready to go back out and bid that project. So hopefully we'll get that bid going and get it back January, February timeframe.
Mr. Jacobson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just for curiosity, when you're doing a remodel on a courthouse, where do you hold court?
Well, they're requesting to have these chambers every first and third or Thursday.
Move to approve.
So moved. I vote yay,
Yeah.
baby, yay.
There's jury space. I mean, I think it'll work.
So all joking aside, Jeff and I need to catch up on this from the meeting that we just recently had with the architect. The district court, out of some of their restricted funds, authorized moving their sound equipment from the large courtroom into the courtroom upstairs next door. So they're planning on utilizing that during the construction period. They're also hoping to be able to use the large courtroom there while they're doing a remodel, but with the acoustics, that may be problematic. So we have discussed alternative sites and we need to continue to discuss alternative sites. We've talked about the Walker River Justice Court. We've talked about these chambers. We did note that the commissioners might not vote for that, but I'll go back to them, let them know it might be an option. With that being said, the remodel costs at this time are estimated to be approximately $9 million upstairs. And growing as construction prices keep having fun for us.
Well, Madam Chair, I would throw out, because I was anticipating that they may be using this, that we can meet anywhere here in YERINGTON. We're probably more flexible than than the district court or whatever court. So I would definitely support us moving to another facility here in Yerington. If we have more flexibility, which I'm assuming we do.
And many times they're not meeting on Thursdays if the court calendar works, so but we'll have further discussions and try and flesh that out. They may be able to meet where they're at, but with some of that construction, when they're going into concrete and shooting 22 cartridges to put the studs in place and so on and so forth, that may not be a good option for them during the time period. So we'll play it by ear, but we'll get back to you on that. Just wanted to update you on the progress of that. We're looking again, construction starting sometime early next year. Calendar year. That's all I have for you. Other than go Chiefs.
Okay, Mr. Paul. Any other appointed official reports? David, Andrew, neither one of you have anything to say for yourself? Nothing?
Shayla didn't have anything either.
I know, I was trying not to pick on her.
Is there a party we don't know about or something?
Madam Chair, Mr. Homestead.
Oh, Mr. Homestead, sorry, I did not see your hand.
Good morning, Doug Homestead for the record, Facility Director. I just wanted to do a public thank you to Walker Basin Conservancy and the AmeriCorps group that came out on Friday. They had 11 people out there and I had 7 people out there at the Hillcrest Cemetery, trimming trees, pulling weeds, and making it look a little better out there. So I just want to publicly thank them. That's all I had.
Thank you, Mr. Homestead. Yes, I did see your email on that as well. Advisory board reports. Ms. Lee.
Yes, thank you. We had the Central Lyon County Parks meeting last night. However, we did not have a quorum, so we didn't get very far. I plan on attending Dayton Valley Days this weekend, and I have created a flyer to invite folks both to attend the Dayton Regional Advisory Board and the Central Lyon County Parks Board meetings, as well as giving them information on to apply if they wish to serve on them.
Okay, thank you. Any other advisory boards? Seeing none, we're going to go to consent agenda. Action will be taken on all items. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and may be acted upon by the Board of County Commissioners with one action and without an extensive hearing. Any member of the board or any citizen may request that an item be taken from the consent agenda discussed and acted upon separately during this meeting. And our items are number 12 through 16C.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda 12A through 16C minus 14B as it is being pulled.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Public comment. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, so now we finish that off. We haven't took that one, so we should be at 18A. The possible action, update and report for the land sale in title. Is it done yet?
Jeff Page, County Manager, for the record, I'll be short and sweet to the point. There is no lands bill and the probably won't be for some time. We've been informed by the Assistant Director of the Department of Interior that unless we have had land taken away from us for military, other issues, that they will not support any land bill at this point in time. So we have, I don't know, what, half an acre or 5 acres, whatever it is, on the backside of Lyon that has gone to the Naval Letter Station. So I can get a land bill for 5 acres.
Now, Jeff, I gotta ask, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Now, did they say it would only be a 1-for-1, or did they say unless we're not, unless we're having land taken away from us? Because if they're taking land away, to me, that's opened the door for us to submit a lands bill.
What's been reported to us, to Andrew and I, meeting with our consultant, was it's tit for tat. So if you're losing 60 acres, you can apply for 60.
How many acres did we get for Pumpkin Hollow?
10,000.
So we still have about 47,000 acres they owe us for the 59,000 or whatever it was we gave to for the Harry Reid project, 48,000, whatever. So I think we're still okay. I think we're still in the negative.
Not according to the Department of Interior. Now, the board can say, yeah, keep moving forward with the lands bill. All I need is, and we'll put it on as another agenda item for that direction. But just know that if the administration of the federal government isn't going to buy off on it, even if we get it passed through Congress, it still has to go to the president for signature. And what we've been informed is, specifically the 11 Western states, is that any lands bill, unless it's tit for tat, they're not supporting one, and they will have veto.
So question, what about the, just the lands that we have had an application in the past, i.e. a park in Silver Springs, we fought over years because they keep losing applications or whatever. Lands that we actually have buildings and or some form of equipment on, I don't know how to say that. Could those qualify separately under a different condition?
So what the Department of Interior is informed in the past is that outside of a lands bill, we'd have to go through the process, which we're doing now on a variety of easements for flood, those kinds of things. With the real estate specialist for the Carson City District. So we're going through that process now. To be quite honest with you, it's probably quicker going through that process than it is getting a lands bill through. If you look at the lands bills that have left Nevada and gone to DC in the last 3-4 years, none of them have come back as a lands bill. Pershing County is on, I think, on their 3rd or 4th attempt for the same lands bill. Douglas County, same thing. Washoe County, I don't know where they are with theirs. I know it's gone to Congress. I don't know if it's actually gotten a hearing. And a couple of counties up in the northeast that were heading down this path, and I don't know where they are with that. I don't know if they decided to back off until 2 years from now and see what happens in November of 2024.
Well, the reason I'm asking is we had paperwork submitted, and then they're the ones that came back to us and said, you know, hey, the cleanest way to do this is to put it in the lands bill. Now they're telling us mix the lands bill.
Well, when you and I had those conversations with those folks, we were under a different administration.
We were.
Thank you,
I knew
Madam.
there was a hand up behind my head.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just my thought on this, and obviously be for a future agenda item, but I don't think we should stop working on a lands bill because administrations change. And we need to be ready when the administration does change to strike while the iron is hot, to use another wives' tale.
I don't disagree, but I will tell you that we will continue moving forward if the board chooses to go that way, but it's not going to be the room fire operation of pushing it through, as there are significant other priorities that we're dealing with right now, trying to get some things addressed, i.e. the bridge, the flood control district, those kinds of things that, and losing a senior planner. So if I get somebody hired by October 1st, I still got 6 months to get that person properly trained as to what Lyon County does versus what they did in Douglas or Carson, or wherever they're coming from, right? So our staffing is dictating also what our priorities are, just to get day-to-day business done. So I'm not telling you that we're not willing to move forward on it. I'm just telling you that based upon the information we gathered from our consultant last week or 2 weeks ago, it doesn't look real promising at this point in time. If we had a lands bill done and took it to Congress, I don't anticipate that we'd be very successful.
Well, I would like to suggest that we bring an agenda item forward to have an actual agenda discussion on this. Whether that's move forward on the lands bill or move forward on the lands bill and maybe pull out some of those lands that we felt were kind of critical to be approved one way or the other, i.e. applications that we have put in the past, and maybe deal with them separately. But I want to have that discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's basically what I was going to say, is that if we've got 5-10 acres of requests that are very significant pieces of property that we would like to obtain for towers or whatever I think that should be kept at the front of the list. Everything else that's big, no, just those significant items would be very important to keep on the list.
Anybody else? Okay, Josh, it's your turn.
Madam Chair, you may
19A.
want to take public comment.
To me, that was a report from the county manager and I was just moving on. I apologize. We are still on 18A. Do I have public comment? Thank you, Jeff.
Don Smith, Wellington, Smith Valley. There was a contract signed to put together a proposed lands bill, as you know. There was about almost $20,000 of the county's money spent on that lands bill, developing the proposal. And I know that the contractor submitted bills, I'm assuming that they were paid over the past several months. And I'm assuming, and I don't know, that the contractor would have produced some kind of documents and what have you regarding the lands bill. My question is, are those documents available for review by the public?
Madam Chair, Jeff Page, County Manager, for the record. One, there has been no formalized documentation done by the contractor. The majority of what we've done is put together maps with GIS shape files from the various entities who wanted that. And yes, we can put together that map and provide it to the board and then make it public after that. And we'll work with the contractor to have that done. But as far as any language into an actual bill, no, we were working on the premise of moving forward and taking a map out to the communities to take a look at prior to putting pen to paper and writing the language for, a draft lands bill. So there is no draft lands bill. There is mapping capabilities at that time.
That might not be a bad idea, the mapping capabilities, when we say we're going to bring this back and have that further discussion. The maps probably would help the commissioners, definitely.
Okay.
And then it would be made public. Do I have anybody else for public comment?
There's somebody on the screen, Madam Sarah W.
Sarah W.
Hi, y'all. Can you hear me?
There you are. Yes, we can.
Hi. For the record, my name is Sarah Walkley. And I just had a question for County Manager Jeff Page, based off of some of the things he shared out. I was curious, you mentioned that there was another process that would be quicker than a lands bill for Lyon County to take on certain concerns that they had. And so I just was curious if you could speak more to that, what that other process is. And then to clarify, if you're saying that HUD Bay would go through this process in order to still go through with digging a copper mine. Thank you.
Sarah, would you like to address that?
Yeah, Jeff Page, County Manager, for the record. So if in the event that we don't move forward on the lands bill, we are still working on the premise and the process that the federal government has outlined for the purchase or requesting easements or right of ways for certain properties. So as an example, we have a number of locations in the Dayton area to address the storm drainage issue that cross BLM land. So we would more than likely request BLM to provide us an easement or right of way for us to do that. And so as an example, let's say that the drainage canal has to be 40 feet wide by 25 feet deep. I don't know, I'm not an engineer, but it has to be fairly big. We were going to ask for 100 feet because we still need to have access to that with a road to be able to get it clean. We have properties, the library, the senior center, the dog park that are on a BLM lease. That's a different process where we would actually go to the federal government and purchase that property outright instead of being on a lease with BLM. Same thing with some of our mountaintop sites. The proposed property up in Fernley, I can't remember how many acres it was. We could go through the process of a lands bill or purchase that property from BLM for that particular use for a landfill down the road. So that is the process. It takes anywhere from 4 to 8 years, depending on the property. You still have to go through all the NEPA stuff. You have to do all those fun-filled things that we would have to do even if we had a lands bill. Outside of the lands bill, all we're looking at is what the county's interest is, not the interest of any private development, not the interest of any economic development. We're just looking at getting what we need to do the job that we need to do to build the bridge, take care of storm drainage, address landfill issues, and address our infrastructure. So those purchases would not include HUD Bay or any of the private developers in the Mount House area that we're looking at being able to expand or change their operations or any of those kinds.
Thank you, Jeff. I didn't see anybody else with other comments, so I am now going to move on to Josh Foley for possible action 19A. Approve an augmentation for a vehicle acquisition fund in the amount of $70,000 and authorize the replacement of 2 human services vehicles for $70,000. You either tell us we can't have no money or you're asking for it. What's up with that?
Josh Fuller, Lyon County Comptroller. I'm gonna claim my 5th amendment right on this one.
That means you can't speak.
That means I can't speak. I'm done. No. Basically, we've got 2 vehicles and human services that are urgently needing to be replaced. And the brothel license fees, since all of the brothels have opened back up, we're getting more than we anticipated when we built the budget. So those 2 coincide well. We have the money. We need the vehicles. It's the fund that's used to purchase vehicles. So we're requesting for the board to authorize augmentation and purchase of vehicles.
I'm not sure how to take that comment.
That's what I was thinking.
Business is good. Is that good?
We're gonna make him turn red.
He did turn red.
Leo, he is turning bright red.
When I interviewed for this job, it was an interview with the Board of County Commissioners under statute. Phyllis Honeywell said, "What is your position on this?" I said, "I'm completely opposed to the brothels personally, but if the board decides that they're legal, I have no problem taxing them." So
All righty then. So, any questions for Josh? Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just curious, seeing as how these are for human services. And our Michelle Holmes is the queen of grants. Is there any grant funding to help with these purchases or?
these particular ones, no. She has been fantastic on getting grants for vans and those type of things, but these are a little more fuel efficient and used for those instances where we don't need to have vans.
Madam Chair.
Sorry.
Just out of curiosity, what vehicles are they? Are they cars?
Chevrolet Equinoxes is what we.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve from the vehicle acquisition fund in the amount of $70,000 to human service vehicles.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Public comment.
And if I could clarify that I think we missed the word augmentation. I think you meant.
Approve the augmentation. Yes, sir.
On the record. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't suppose we put bumper stickers on there. This vehicle bought and paid for by.
All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Yeah, aye.
I think we should.
Any opposed? Okay, you guys. behave yourself.
That's a great idea, Ken.
Okay, 19B for possible action, approve a contract with Sierra Nevada Construction Inc. for $57,210 for replacement paving of the tennis court at Dressel Park and authorize an additional allocation of $20,000 towards this project from American Rescue Plan Act funding.
Josh Foley, Lyon County Comptroller. For the record, the board probably recollects that they authorized work on the tennis court out of ARPA funding, and they authorized $50,000 for that project. Mr. Homestead got 3 quotes from responsive bidders for that, and they told him, you don't want to repair it. Rip it out of there,
put brand new in, or you're gonna regret, you're just gonna be throwing good money after bad. So the reason for the increase is we're not gonna repair it if the board authorizes this. We're gonna have all of that pulled out and then just put brand new paving in. But it's gonna cost an estimated, hopefully not $20,000 more, but probably in that ballpark to do that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is there a way that we could have a county crew go down there and pop that asphalt out with backhoe and haul it off at a cheaper rate?
That's the quote in front of you for the contract is only putting new in. The county is going to remove that and take care of any tennis court nets, striping, those type of things.
Excellent. And then will it be a basketball court in there as well, or a multi-use, or is it just solely tennis?
So you know as much as I do on that. Mr. Homestead has told me, and I've forgotten immediately after he said it.
I'm online here.
Mr. Hockaday has it.
Well, Mr. Homestead jumped in. I can answer that, but Mr. Homestead, go ahead.
Doug Homestead for the record, facilities director. Yeah, we're gonna pull out the asphalt ourselves, take the fence down. We gotta take the fence down on one whole side, all the posts and all that out. And then we're gonna have to put it back up. With the help of the road department's dump truck and their backhoe, my crew will be taking care of that part of the project. It just wasn't worth the effort of trying to patch it. It would came out with a bad, every contractor I talked to said it won't work. The new asphalt won't stick to that type of surface, that paint that's on there. So we'll be doing a lot of the work in-house. And the court wise, we're putting in one tennis court, one pickleball court, and a half basketball court.
That kind of answered my question. Are we gonna get, I mean, as residents, are we gonna get $77,000 use out of it? And the reason I ask, one of the reasons I ask is, well, you just mentioned the pickleball court. I know Carson City just got rid of their tennis courts, which killed me because I like playing tennis there, but those nearest tennis courts to me. They put in pickleball courts, and I mean, are we gonna get $77,000 use out of that? Or is there a better use that area could be used for? And I think Mr. Hockett would be best to answer that one.
And I can answer that, definitely. The tennis court has been used whenever I drive by. People are there working, or should say playing. Pickleball is becoming more popular with older folks because it's a smaller court. And we're trying to get the kids in there with the basketball. So I think we're hitting everything for a reasonable price. I know at the very beginning, we had $170,000 designated out of ARPA. And I was getting complaints because it was going to be concrete. So basically, I look at this as kind of a win-win on everything. We're getting asphalt, which people wanted. We're getting new, so we don't have any cracks. It's, I think, good all the way around, and it's probably looking at something for 15 to 20 years into the future rather than a 5 or 6 or 8 year repair.
Thanks.
Okay, so my question is, did I read this agenda right? So we were 57,210 for replacement, but anyways, and so they're looking to authorize an additional allocation of 20,000. But that's coming out of the ARPA. Did we not take ARPA to the last meeting?
No.
So we haven't spent anything yet. The project is going to cost much more than 57,000. That's just the asphalt piece. We need to buy the fencing. We need to buy the paint for the striping. There are other costs that go into this project.
That's not the question.
Oh,
The question is, we have additional monies in ARPA to allocate.
So the board had put approximately $300,000 into contingency
Thank you.
for
I-
situations exactly like we're talking about.
Gotcha. I was thinking in my head, and that she is like, wait a minute, we spent it all. I forgot we had to continue. Thank you. That answered my question.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve a contract with Sierra Nevada Construction Incorporated for $57,210 for replacement paving of the tennis court at Dressler Park and authorize an additional allocation of $20,000 toward this project from American Rescue Plan Act funding.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion?
Just a question, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you. How do you dribble half a basketball?
Play half basketball court.
That's for people my age who can't run the full length of the court.
Okay.
Clear to the
Okay,
center.
any public comment? Commissioners will have one speaking. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Number 20A for presentation only. Project status and update for the Utilities Department from the Utilities Engineer, Shora Penda. Mr. Penda, are you online? I don't have my full screen, so I can't see.
Was earlier.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
There you are. Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Good morning, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners. I'm going to present a quick update on the capital improvement projects in Dayton Utilities. Here is a summary of the projects. We have various projects in different phases. So in the last 3 months, we completed 2 projects. So this is kind of a quick snapshot of all the 9 projects we have. So there are 3 projects we are still in the design phase, pre-design. 2 we are in design phase and 2 going in construction. 2 have been completed over last 3 months. So next slides, each slide is dedicated to one project. So I'll give some more details on each project. If you have any specific questions, I'll be happy to answer them. So this is Highway 50 Dayton Valley Road Sewer Replacement Project Phase 2. As you know, in the last board meeting, we gave a quick update on this. So this is a very critical project. The sewer line is in a very compromised situation that we are trying to replace since maybe last over 3 years. So recently we did the evaluation of alternate routes if we cannot follow the existing route because of some sewer easement, securing easement from that existing route. So we have been in discussion with 2 property owners. One of them is on the left side of the Dayton Valley Road Sinclair gas station. The other one is on the right side. If we look on the drawing or the map, is Sabria's properties. So it looks like over the last couple of months, through these discussions with the property owners, it looks like we'll not be getting easement for this line. So I think in the upcoming boards, probably we are going to present the alternatives, what is the recommended option. But at this point, one thing we can say, the alternate routes are not only challenging for construction, but they're going to cost at least $3 to $4 million more than if we follow the existing route, which is along Highway 50. As you can see, the alternate one shown in the red color. So in the upcoming meetings, we'll be bringing more updates on this project, including whether we'll be successful in getting a easement from these 2 property owners. Next slide, please. This is a new project we've started sometime in April. It's a sewer model development. So board approved about $200,000 for this project back in April. So the purpose of this, the hydraulic model is to develop a computerized model, basically to analyze the operation as well as the impact of new developments, particularly on the sewer side, if they're connected to the system, how is it going to impact the overall system operation? So this is a new, we should have this model much before, but this is a good step forward to assist the operations staff to analyze different scenarios, including operation or impact of new developments if it is connected in the system. So as of date, the project includes two basic steps. Basically, the first 4 months, we have to monitor the sewer flow, which we started in June. It's going to end in September. After that, Far West Engineering, who is basically developing the model for us, they're going to build the model by November. And finally, they'll present the model, including a report, by December of this year. Next project, please.
Well, that's cool.
This is about our existing water model update project. The last water model was done in, I think, 5 years back. So it was kind of giving some, I mean, the model was not reliable because over the last 5 years, we had much of the system upgrade and changes happen. So we wanted to update the model so that we can get the benefit of supporting this to the operation, as well as evaluating any new developments that are coming to the system, how is it going to impact. So this is a great tool for operations and the planning team to basically look for different scenarios. What's the impact of the system? What the deficiency in the system that can be improved by the projects. So one of the reasons also we brought this one back in March, April of this year to analyze the recent water main break near Copper Canyon. So we are using this updated model to analyze the system deficiency, if there is any, near the Copper Canyon area. So we'll bring that outcome of that model, maybe in the upcoming meetings to describe if there is really any deficiency that's causing those water main breaks that happened in the last few months. Next project, please. This is rolling a plant expansion. As you know, this project is kind of on hold because we are waiting for the effluent disposal project, which is, we call it Aspen Creek Rapid Infiltration Basin project, to be substantially completed. So recently board approved a task order to Far West to assist us with the construction management. So with that, the bid documents are being prepared right now. Staff is reviewing those documents. One thing I would like to bring to board's attention, which is not a good news, but it's the impact of the current market condition. So last August 2021, when we did the cost estimate, engineer's estimate came about $15 million. Last month, we did a cost estimate to update the cost estimate considering the current market before we go to the bid. So it came about $2 million more, which is now standing at $17 million versus $15 million that we estimated back in August of 2021. So this is unfortunate, but this is the reality of the market condition. Things we are getting hit by the current the price increase as well as the supply issues happening for multiple projects. Next slide, please. This is a 10-mile hill water tank project. A little background on this, back in 2017, we did 90% design of this project, but for some reason, this project was shelved until it was open this year because, again, the water model we did recently basically showed the need for this project to have enough capacity, basically the storage capacity to supplement the recent developments we have in the utilities in our area. So board approved about $7.75 million for construction of this 1 million gallon water tank. 90% design was done in 2017, but after board approved additional funding for this project, Far West completed the 100% design. We are reviewing those design right now. Following that, the bidding and the construction contract, basically we have planned to begin from November. We'll finish that phase by February of next year. So construction will take about 7 months. We have a plan right now to begin construction of this project by May 2023. So by end of next year, we should bring this tank online, and it will provide the additional storage capacity that we find some sort of deficiency right now in the system. This tank also, we are hoping to assist or to at least to minimize such water main failures that we have seen in Copper Canyon area. We are hoping that this tank is going to help some sort of providing a capacity or minimize the break in the system. This project is sewer lift station 2 replacement. This project is in construction. We approved the contract back in November of 21. We had, again, due to the material unavailability, we began the construction in May. So we had about 4 months delay in the project. So far, we have almost close to 40% construction completed, but due to some unavailability of material for this project, at this stage, we are heading to stop the construction until we get all the remaining components of the project. Possibly, contractor is requesting a change order, which we are going to bring to the board in the next board meeting. As of date, the current contract construction is supposed to be done by November of this year. I think we are seeing at least 6 to 7 months delay for the reason that the contract is not able to get the components from the market. As a side note, we also have been impacted by the price increase. Particularly for this project, there is a lot of price escalation that contractor faced in the initial phase of the project. So contractor has requested a proposal to reimburse additional funding or changing the contract price, which staff really didn't support based on the contract terms. Which what we see at this point, it may go to a mediation or arbitration due to disagreement between the contractor and us on that proposal. So we'll bring more updates on that in the next meeting or so. But these are the things basically impacted by the current market condition, both in terms of the contract times as well as the contract price of impact. So like I said, in the rolling a plant project, the $2 million is purely due to the current market condition that we never expected in the beginning. Next project, please. This project is Aspen Creek Rapid Infiltration Basin. Until last month, it was in the design phase, so we moved this one to construction. Board approved the construction contract in July meeting. We had the pre-construction meeting in September, and we are issuing the construction to proceed starting October 3rd of this year. So far, we have not seen any impact on this project. Most of the submittals are going through without any request or any impact from the current market situation. So we are hoping to wrap up this construction within 7 months, starting May. So by November or December, if we can wrap up this project, we can start the rolling a project. That's the tentative plan right now. Next 2 projects basically completed over the last 2 months or 3 months. The first one is the Highway 50 water line replacement. This project contractually supposed to be done by June 29th. We completed the project on June 2nd. Financially, board approved $1.495 million from 2022 budget. Finally, the project was completed with about $600,000 less than the allocated budget. So it was a successful project done within schedule and within the budget. The last project is a small Prv relocation. It was done by staff. This project has been completed, and this system is now online, helping the operations of the two different pressure zones that it was basically meant for. Besides these 9 projects, we are also doing some small engineering evaluation projects, such as SIP camp dam evaluation. It's a stormwater analysis or stormwater project to assess the health of the SIP camp dam, which has been recently marked as a high hazard by the Department of Water Resources. So Far West is evaluating both geotech and engineering analysis, and they're going to present the report on their findings maybe within a month or so. Another project we are doing, Silver Spring Effluent Disposal Preliminary Engineering Report. The current disposal of effluent from this plant is not sustainable. So hoping to update or improve the disposal capability of this plant, we requested some funding. Board approved about $300,000 ARPA funding for this project. Right now, we are evaluating through Far West any alternate options to manage the effluent disposal from this plant. So we'll be bringing more update from this project in coming meetings. The last one we are doing, Willow Creek plant rehabilitation. This is a small plant in Willow Creek, which we see or we expect that there is some kind of lining break at the bottom, leading to some water leakage to the underground subsurface. But unfortunately, the condition of the tanks or the construction doesn't allow to rehab or take one of the tanks online to do the rehab. But we are thinking through the process, and hopefully we'll find a way how we can rehab those leaking treatment tanks or basins. So overall, at this point, I think current market situation brings some of the impacts to the projects in terms of cost and the time or the material availability. We are trying to best to minimize all those impacts to the project. Hopefully, that will be the situation for next couple of months. And the couple of big projects coming, such as the rolling a plant expansion, will be a challenge, but we'll try our best to manage this project successfully. Thank you so much. I'll be happy to answer if you have any specific questions.
Thank you, Mr. Penn. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Penn. I'd like to talk about the Dayton Valley Road sewer replacement phase 2. Can you provide a little more information on the difficulties in getting the easements from the property owners along the current path of the sewer line?
Absolutely. There are two property owners there along the existing route. If you can imagine coming from Highway 50 going east, the first one is on the right side is Sinclair gas station, and then crossing Dayton Valley Road on the right hand side we have Sabrias's property. So those two easements we need to have. Looking at the records, we don't have an existing easement recorded or anything document we found for the Sinclair gas station, even if we have utilities in that area. We do also have water lines in that within that property owner's gas station. So we didn't find any record in the title report. Going to the other side, we do have easement recorded back in 70s, but that easement is only for 10 feet. Considering the depth of this line, the sewer line is at about 15 feet. 10 feet easement is not enough to open off a trench, open trench and do the construction. So we need at least 20 feet of easement as per the current county standards. to be able to construct or repair or replace that line. So over the last 6 months, almost, we have been discussion with the two property owners. I think I'll leave to David to maybe add up all those history that we have been so far with the property owners. David, could you please help?
David Brickett. So just update on that. Sinclair Gas Station, we have a verbal agreement, but they're not returning our calls to continue moving this forward. And they're just not responding to our emails. So I'm not saying that we don't have an easement agreement with them, but we haven't gotten responses from them since we've had a verbal. The property on the other side, we still do have one more meeting that we're going to set up with them and hopefully convince them to need to have this easement. But the last discussion we had with them, there was some discussion about possibly them purchasing some property from us. So the answer, they said that they want to give us an easement, but we're still hopeful that there can be some further discussions. So we're going to have one more meeting set up with them and work with community development to try and make that.
Thank you. And did I hear correctly that if we have to go to an alternate route, it's going to increase the cost of the project by up to $4 million, which
And I think the number's higher than that.
I was about to say, I'm going to presume that. And so I think we have to look at alternatives. You know, there are, don't want to use the words, but I will, eminent domain if we have to go that way. Because I mean, that might be cheaper than spending $4+ million to reroute.
So we want to give you an update, you know, and let you know what's going on with this situation, but because of the critical need to replace that line, you know, I think we updated you about 4 months ago. So we finally were able to get a camera down that line and it's compromised. So, you know, we're going to have to make some decisions here in the near future. So I would hope by not the next board meeting, but the meeting after that, we'll be able to have some answers of, you know, are we going to have to go down that road, or we'll bring this forward as an action item that we, you know, need to do with this.
I appreciate that. Thank you both.
Any other questions? Thank you. Okay, agenda requests, number 21. Start with Commissioner Jacobson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just where are we with TCID and BOR accepting invite to speak to our board? And if they refuse, is there a agency that holds them accountable for communication and public outreach?
They haven't refused. We've, to be quite honest with you, Commissioner Jacobson, we've had one preliminary conversation and waiting to hear back some information. As far as BRR goes, there is, I mean, unless you want me to call the president and say, hey, get him down here. That is the challenge. So I've had brief discussion with BOR. Hopefully they'll get back to me by the end of next week and we'll get something set up.
Thank you, sir. That's all I had, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Gray, your head was already shaking, so I figured I must.
It'd be an easy one for you.
Yeah.
Just jump right over me.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to have an agenda item to consider and hopefully adopt a resolution thanking David Ray for his long years of service to the Mason Valley Citizens Advisory Board.
Do we have a process for that? Not kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah. And Jeff, I would like to have on our agenda to consider dissolving the Mason Valley Advisory Board. Okay, Commissioner comments. I'll start with Commissioner Henderson. I'm just going, no, you can make it all these faces. Go away. Commissioner Henderson.
I've been very quiet today. No rabbit holes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a brief comment. I would happily like to report that my sister is doing amazingly well on her recovery. Thank God for the bone marrow donor, because she is doing amazing. In fact, she even actually performed a service at her church for the one Sunday she did not have a replacement pastor. She was actually feeling good enough to do that. So that is awesome. Again, I enjoyed it was interesting participating in the last board meeting by Zoom. I am gonna still keep requesting from staff that we look at updating our audio video capability. And also I look forward to seeing all of you all at NACO in a week or so.
Exactly. Okay. Okay, Commissioner Gray,
You sure?
your face said it already, but go ahead.
I just want to thank the folks that took care of, well, I was out walking through Patriot Park with my niece and nephew, and the eyesore volleyball court is gone and the swings are in, and oh my God, you have made the kids in the neighborhood so very happy. So thank you. They're having a blast on those swings. That's all I got.
Commissioner Hockaday,
Nothing here. Thank you.
Commissioner Jacobson.
On the 22nd, just want to wish everybody a first day of fall. Splendid to have cooler weather. That's all I have.
Jeff, I just had a question. When I said that a minute ago about the Basin Valley, did I just say discussion or did I say discussion and action?
I was gonna make it for discussion and possible action.
Thank you. I thought about what I said. I was like, okay, did I say that the way I wanted to? You know, the only thing I want to say is, I know there's quite a few people in and around the county that we have lost. I don't want to have to go through all the names and then maybe miss somebody, but anyways, I just want to extend my condolences, my prayers and thoughts to all the families. It just seemed like this was a rough week. And so just want to let everybody know that we are thinking of them, and most people know my number, so if you need me. Do we have another closed session today, Steve, or are we good? Okay, I'm gonna go to the last public participation. So is there anybody left that wants to talk about something we didn't already talk about today? Anything that was not on the agenda? Are you allowed?
Run.
I suppose that's up to you.
Oh, there's that tie
Mr.
again.
Foley.
I just wanted to update the board that we have received a little over 300,000, almost 400,000 in the opioid money that came in. We created a fund, the board created a fund. Because of the timing of that, we have not developed a budget. We will be coming back to the board. I know Human Services has some options that they want to present to you in the future. And we'll also have to spend the money this fiscal year, start spending, we'll have to do a budget augmentation so that there actually is a budget for it. But I didn't want to put it in until we had an idea of some of the ideas for the board to allocate. So we'll be coming back to it. Just wanted to give you a heads up.
Okay. Again, anybody for public comment, participation, something to say? Shayla's head was bouncing, so I'm just waiting. Okay. Nobody online, Jeff? I don't see any hands. All right, then this meeting is adjourned.